البوكة دي طفيت بدنا نقعد ننفخ فيها
كمان لازم
وهيك. Good afternoon, everyone. As you see, we are the delegation of the Council of Arab Ambassadors. We had a very important and extensive meeting yesterday in which we discussed in depth the strategy that we are putting in place for at least the next 2 to 3 months here at the United Nations. And we emphasized again that we have been united during the course of the last 3 months of the past year around the 3 objectives that we shared them with you so many times. Number 1, to stop the aggression against our people, particularly in the Gaza Strip, which means that we wanted ceasefire, ceasefire, ceasefire immediately. The SG calls it, humanitarian ceasefire. We don't have an objection as long as it is, a ceasefire, regardless of how you describe it. Secondly, to have humanitarian assistance up to scale, according to also, again, what the Secretary General suggested from the beginning, that we should be getting closer to hundreds of truckloads, maybe 500 truckloads per day. These are the needs of our people in the Gaza Strip in terms of food, medicine, fuel, everything related to the sustenance of life of humans. And the number 3 is, to continue fighting against the crime against humanity of forced mass transfer. Of course, we've accomplished certain things in the General Assembly and in the Security Council last year, but not enough, not to the level of reaching a complete ceasefire. So to allow for the mechanism that the UN is putting in place, some of us met separately with Sigrid Kaak, and we will maybe meet with her as a group. We requested that so that we can begin the discussions related to her work and the needs of verification system by the UN in order to bypass the obstacles that the Israeli side put in place in checking every truck and delaying the process, the end result, not allowing the Palestinian people to receive the humanitarian assistance that they need. We also decided, to speak with one voice in the debate that started, in the General Assembly after the veto. And you listened to our statements. We're still repeating, ceasefire is the most needed step to be taken in order to save lives, to stop the killing, to be able to attend to the needs of the people in the Gaza Strip. So we will continue in the same path. And also, you might have known that the Secretary General issued a report about implementation of Security Council, particular resolution 2712. And also he sent a letter about different suggestions to do monitoring. So as we, Arab group, decided to ask for an open meeting of the Security Council, Friday we understand it will be, in which we can discuss to keep the issue alive in the Security Council. We will concentrate on the mass transfer, but of course we will discuss other issues, including the report and the letter. Now, we're doing these things in this week, and we will be very busy with France, who suggested to elevate the meeting on the 23rd of this month to a ministerial level. So we understand that many of our ministers have indicated that they will come to New York to participate in that meeting in which I believe that the SG will report, Sigrid will report about the initial things that she will share with the Security Council regarding her appointment and her ideas and the mechanism that she wants to put place in close collaboration with us, Egypt, Jordan, Palestine, the other Arab countries who are, a key player in terms of the UN mechanisms under the leadership of Sigrid. Now, in between, next week, there will be a summit, 2 summits, in fact, in Uganda, NAM summits, in which, and also South-South summit. A number of us, and of course our ministers and maybe heads of states and governments will participate in that, in these 2 summits. We will mobilize and try to get the maximum support that we can for the implementations of the 3 objectives: ceasefire, humanitarian assistance up to scale, and against the mass forced transfer. But also we will begin to mobilize around other issues which were adopted in the Arab OIC summit in Riyadh a few months earlier. Among these issues is to start mobilizing for going to the Security Council with the view that we believe that the state of Palestine, after changing its status in the year 2012 to an observer state, now it is high time to recognize and admit the state of Palestine for membership. This is an investment in peace and an investment in saving the 2-state solution, and also that the Arab and OIC summit endorsed the call for an international conference to be convened in order to see the implementation of the global consensus on the 2-state solution, and on the basis, the global basis in which that conference to be convened, international law and the parameters as known of ending the occupation and having the 2-state solution to become a reality. So that we are involved in these issues and in many other issues. We will continue to knock on the door of the General Assembly, the Security Council, the Secretary General, Madam Sigrid, and every component of the United Nations to accomplish the ceasefire and to accomplish the other objectives that we have been united around them for the last 95 days, and we are determined to continue being united along with the OIC, the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, and we hope that we will have also an additional push during the next week in the summit of NAM and the South-South summit. These are the things that we will do, which will pave the way for additional support in the summit of the African countries in the middle of next month, and also to be culminated in a ministerial meeting for the Arab states that will take place in the middle of March, all to try, number one, to stop this aggression, ceasefire, and all the other objectives. We wanted to share these things with you. We will continue with the, with our practice of asking you to meet with us like this, to share with you our plans and our ideas, and to, to entertain your questions as much as we can. And we want to continue keeping you informed. We appreciate your work. A large number of your colleagues, Palestinian journalists, lost their lives in this criminal war against our people in the Gaza Strip. Some of the names, you know them. Some they're your colleagues, like in the case of Al Jazeera and others. We honor them always. We we have their names, we mention their names, and you know, in honoring them, we will always meet with you and you know, share our thoughts and ideas with you. I will stop at this point. If any of my colleagues want to say anything, by all means, before we ask you for questions. Okay, تفضل.
شكرا جزيلا. مراد هاشم الجزيرة. أشرتم إلى استراتيجية التحرك للمجموعة العربية خلال الشهرين المقبلين. هل يشمل ذلك مجددا التحرك في مجلس الأمن ومتى؟ لأن الهدف الأول للمجموعة العربية حتى الآن لم يتحقق رغم مضي 3 أشهر وأكثر على العدوان على غزة، وهو وقف إطلاق النار. حتى ولو إن كان هذا التحرك من قبيل الضغط على الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية التي تحمي إسرائيل في الواقع، وهي سمحت بتمرير مشروعين لا يدعوان في الواقع، أو قرارين لا يدعوان إلى وقف إطلاق النار. هل هناك تحرك من هذا القبيل ومتى؟
أولا أنا أشرت على أننا دعونا إلى اجتماع لمجلس الأمن يوم الجمعة في إطار التحرك مع مجلس الأمن والجمعية العامة، ونحن منهمكين مع الجمعية العامة، ونحن نتحدث في هذا المؤتمر الصحفي كلمات الممثلين العرب برئاسة مندوب البحرين الذي هو رئيس المجموعة العربية لهذا الشهر، الذي أدلى ببيان باسم المجموعة العربية. وفي المقدمة في الطرح هي أهدافنا الثلاث، وفي المقدمة منها وقف إطلاق النار. سنبقى مستمرين في ذلك. يوم الجمعة سنتحدث عن كل شيء. فعندما تتكلم عن وقف التهجير القسري، وتتكلم عن الميكانيزم من أجل مساعدات الشعب الفلسطيني up to scale، وتتكلم عن ما يجري في قطاع غزة، لا يمكن أن تستقيم قناة صحيحة لذلك إلا إذا صار وقف إطلاق النار. فلذلك هذا الاجتماع كل من الذين سيتحدثوا منا ونحن نعمل مع مجلس الأمن عبر الممثل العربي الجزائر الآن على أن تكون جلسة يوم الجمعة إن لم تكن مفتوحة بشكل شامل، ونحبذ ذلك، على الأقل الخلية العربية المعروفة المكونة من الرئاسة والمكونة من فلسطين والمكونة من مصر والأردن وطبعا الجزائر العضو العربي في مجلس الأمن، وقطر والإمارات كونها العضو العربي الذي غادر مجلس الأمن، أن يتكلموا. وجميعنا سنطرح في المقدمة من طرحنا أن كل هذه البرامج وكل هذه الميكانيزمات التي ترتبت على القرارات التي اعتمدت من الصعب أن تصل إلى الأهداف التي تريدها إذا وقف إطلاق النار لم يصبح حقيقة. فسنبقى نطرح في هذا الشأن. هذا من جانب. من الجانب الآخر سكرتيري أوف ستيت كلينتون بدأ بزيارة إلى تركيا، ثم بلينكن، ثم انتقل من تركيا إلى عمان، ومن عمان إلى قطر، ومن قطر إلى السعودية وإلى الإمارات وإلى أعتقد فلسطين، وأعتقد سيذهب إلى الجانب الإسرائيلي ومصر، مع كل الأطراف العربية الأساسية والرئيسية في هذا الموضوع. كل رؤسائنا يكرروا ويطرحوا وقف إطلاق النار أولا، وقف إطلاق النار أولا. فليس العمل فقط هو على مستوانا هنا في الأمم المتحدة ونحن نقوم به، ولكن كذلك العمل على مستوى العواصم وعلى مستوى الهيئات القيادية العليا. وهذا ما سنطرحه بمنتهى القوة في قمة عدم الانحياز التي سيحضرها أكثر من 120 دولة، وقمة الجنوب التي سيحضرها أكثر من 134 دولة. فلذلك يعني على كل هذه المستويات نحن نكثف الجهد لنصل إلى اللحظة التي يسلم فيها طرف رئيسي اسمه الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية، لأنه هو الذي يملك الفيتو، وهو الذي يعطي الغطاء للاحتلال الإسرائيلي أن يستمر في جرائمه في قطاع غزة، أنه يلتحق بالمواقف الأوروبية التي تغيرت والتي تدعو إلى وقف إطلاق النار أو وقف إطلاق نار إنساني، كما موقف الأمين العام وكل رؤساء المنظمات التابعة للأمم المتحدة، نأمل أن كل هذا الجهد المشترك على كل المستويات أن يوصل إلى أن الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية أن تلتحق بالركب، تلتحق بالعالم جميعا وصولا إلى نقطة وقف إطلاق النار. كلنا منذ اليوم الأول ونحن نعمل ليل نهار على وقف إطلاق النار. لم نصل إلى ذلك الموقف بعد، ولكن أنا أعتقد أنه بجهدنا وجهد قياداتنا والعواصم والمؤتمرات والقمم التي الجائية واللجنة الوزارية العربية الإسلامية بقيادة المملكة العربية السعودية ووزير خارجيتها، كل هذا الجهد المشترك نعتقد على أنه سيساعدنا في الوصول إلى تلك اللحظة. ووزراؤنا سيأتوا في 23 الشهر إلى مجلس الأمن ليطرحوا على هذا المستوى الأعلى الأهداف التي نريد أن ننجزها، وفي المقدمة منها وقف إطلاق النار. Edith and you, because one Jazeera English next.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador. Could you give us some idea of a time frame on when you plan to go to the Security Council to seek recognition of the State of Palestine at the United Nations, and also on an international conference pressing for a two-state solution? Is there a host, and when might that take place? And thirdly, on the January 23rd meeting of the Council at ministerial level, aside from a briefing by Sigrid Kaag, are you expecting any other outcome? Will there be any press statement, any possibility of a presidential statement? Thank you.
Edith, you asked many questions. Some of them, I'm sorry, when I spoke in Arabic, I responded to them, but I'll try to address them also in English. With regard to the 23rd, the ministerial meeting, I don't think that we can predict to you what the Security Council at the level of foreign ministers is going to decide to do. Of course, we trust, that the judgment and the position of the foreign ministers when they are here in the Security Council, and depending on the situation on the ground and so many other factors, whether there will be an outcome and what kind of an outcome, we cannot, frankly speaking, share with you anything of that sort at this particular moment. But also, we always welcome any possibility of any outcome that gets us closer to the ceasefire. This is our compass. Everything we do, it has to lead us in the direction of a ceasefire. And so this is with regard to the 23rd. With regard to the other two issues, you should, you are a very smart, journalist, and you are a good friend of mine. I gave you, something that it has been mentioned often by our ministers when they came. They spoke about, the admission of the State of Palestine to membership. The obstacle is in the Security Council. We need to find a solution to that obstacle and to remove it from the path so that the State of Palestine assume its rightful place as a member state of the United Nations. So that this way, it is that the international community will decide, along with the Palestinian people, the future of the two-state solution. It is not Israel, the occupying power. So since the United Nations decided to partition Palestine and to create the two states, then it is the United Nations and the Security Council responsibility to complete this exercise by admitting the other state, which exists, it's under occupation, it is an observer state in the UN system. So that's the logic, so that when we do more mobilization in the NAM summit, in the South summit, to complement the mobilization of the Arab and the Muslim summit, which called for that, we need to create a momentum to get closer to the moment in which that step to be happening. And of course, we will not decide that here. It will be decided by our leaders, and I expect that the ministers this time in the 23rd might talk extensively about that point as part of the mobilization and the preparation. The other issue related also to the convening of the international conference. President Abbas has been, since the end of the year 2017, beginning of 2018, came to the Security Council several times. And he called for an international conference, and he kept repeating that. And Arab ministers in their visits lately mentioned that issue again, and it was legislated in the summit of the OIC and the Arab countries in Riyadh lately. So there will be more mobilization, enlarging the base, calling for these things, and I think it will reflect itself in the statements of our ministers and hopefully others who will participate in the debate in the Security Council in the 23rd. Now, this would put us closer to the moment of taking these steps, but that decision will be made, I don't know when, but there are important meetings on the horizon. One of them is in the middle of March for the Council of Arab Foreign Ministers, which could be, a very important date to decide the date of, moving in the direction of the Security Council and in the General Assembly with regard to the international conference. We will legislate in the General Assembly a resolution calling for the international conference and its structure and the role of the SG and the basis and the time frame, all these things. You live in this country and you know the politics in this country. I think that maybe things need to be done before May, before we go into full swing of elections. So that during this window, I'm just giving you personal assessment, that would be the most appropriate window to move in that direction if the Arab leaders, the Muslim leaders, the NAM leaders, the countries of the South leaders determine and decides that the time is now and give us the instruction to move, and we will move. I was generous with you, you must admit.
Ambassador.
Yes, sir.
Happy New Year first.
Happy New Year to you too.
If I can, you said that you were going to mobilize every component of the UN. Well, there's an important meeting in one of the major organs of the United Nations on Thursday, a hearing taking place at the International Court of Justice. Tell me what you hope will come out of that hearing.
Well, it is not going to happen here. It's going to happen in The Hague. I understand. And we are very grateful to the government of South Africa for taking this very important and highly moral position. Nobody would question that a country like South Africa, which defeated apartheid, that it is not on the top of the mountain of morality and respect for human rights and the rights of people in general. So we are grateful to them. A number of our countries also did the same as Palestine in supporting this move. I know that the Deputy Prime Minister of Jordan made a statement to that effect that we are supportive. But Thursday, South Africa will submit the case. I know that by now everybody knows that there is the briefing of South Africa of about 84, 85 pages is public, and it's crystal clear for those who are fair and objective in listening to the articulation of the position. Israel on Friday will give their known narrative. What we understand the South Africans are asking for provisional measures, okay, as in a case that happened not too long ago in the ICJ. Now, we expect maybe before the end of this month that the court will make a decision. We sincerely hope that the decision will be, if not explicit, as we'd love to call for a ceasefire, so to have enough time after that to deal with the case and the merit of the case and the intent, which might take longer period of time. During that second phase, there will be tens of countries involved, at least from our side, many of our countries who are state parties to the Convention on Genocide, to participate in the deliberation on the merit of the case, and that yes, genocide is being committed by the Israeli occupying authorities against our people, particularly in the Gaza Strip, and the evidence is crystal clear. But if the court to make the determination, which we hope it does, that ceasefire, stop the hostilities as they did in the case of Ukraine, anything that would be clear that they're asking Israel to stop what could be understood to mean to stop the genocide from continuing while they deal with the legal case on the merit to prove what exactly is happening, and that will take time. So therefore, we will see this is another dimension that is taking place. For us in the state of Palestine, we're sending a delegation from our foreign ministry to be observing and listening to the deliberations. And we will do something jointly with South Africa after that, because it is our duty, and to express our gratitude and appreciation for what they are doing. And we took steps not to disrupt and not to have deviation from dealing with the issue head on for provisional measures. So that's why we felt that South Africa is the most appropriate country to take the lead and to do the referral to the ICJ in that case. We just have to wait and see the results, and then we will study the results and assess and evaluate and take the necessary steps after that. I think that we anybody to say anything?
May say something.
Just wanted to express our full support for all the moves that the Arab group will be conducting, as the representative of Palestine has made it very clear today. Our goal is, first and foremost, for the United Nations to take all the necessary measures through its organs, especially the Security Council, for a ceasefire. This is of paramount importance for the lives and for the humanitarian disaster that's happening now in Gaza. The ceasefire is the key element that we have to work for. The other issue is to allow humanitarian aid in and access to it. We welcome the appointment of Ms. Kag as a coordinator for humanitarian aid, but we think that without a ceasefire, her mandate will be significantly curtailed. We look forward to work with her in this regard, and for the aid to move forward at a pace which will allow the alleviation of the suffering. And third, and not the least important, is the transfer of population. You can hear now voices in Israel being very serious. Yesterday there was a huge meeting in Israel, conference for the right wing, which is calling for the mass transfer of the Palestinian population from Gaza, about the 2.3 million. These voices are becoming very serious, and that became the normal in Israel now, and we have to stop this. because we know that Israel, once it transfers people outside the territory of the occupied Palestinian territory, they are never allowed back in. To change demographies, obviously Jordan is supportive of the creation, or not the creation, that the United Nations recognizes the Palestinian states, and we're going to be supportive of all the moves that Palestine is moving forward in this regard. And obviously this has to be also within the political context of establishing of having a conference, international conference, for the purpose of achieving the two-state solution. That's very important that people do not lose sight on this matter, and the end goal of having two states living side by side in peace and security. This is what I wanted to say at this stage, and we are in full support of all the steps that have been put forward. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And maybe on behalf of the League of Arab States, I would like also to speak about, in answering the question by Edith, about the need for a political horizon. I think the issue is not only to convene the conference as much as of the need for a political horizon to settle the Palestinian question and to establish the Palestinian state on the borders of 1967. And to that regard, also we have seen some very promising European moves. And the Spanish presidency of the European Union, along with Belgium, with Portugal, with Ireland, with others, have already started consulting on creating some sort of a mechanism or some sort of a meeting in a way that goes along with the convening of the conference that President Abbas have been asking for. But all of this would require that Israel stop attacking the United Nations. We all heard the absurdities that the ambassador of Israel have been saying in the General Assembly today, attacking everything in the United Nations and in the Security Council, in the General Assembly, and concentrating on some issues that we also are concentrating on, but within the overall picture of establishing the Palestinian states, preserving the inalienable rights of the Palestinian people, and getting everything settled, including what the ambassador of Israel is looking for. Thank you.
Okay, in conclusion, on behalf of all of us, we want to express our gratitude to United Arab Emirates for all of the wonderful things that they did during, during their tenure as representative of the Arab group in the Security Council, and we welcome Algeria as the representative of the Arab group for the next 2 years in the Security Council. We are grateful. Our voice is there, and they speak on our behalf as united, strong bloc of the Arab countries, and with us also the Organization of Islamic Conference. We are a bloc to be reckoned with, and we are defending as much as we can the rights of the Palestinian people, and to see this aggression to be stopped as quickly as possible. We will keep you informed, and we thank you very much. Bye-bye.